It's 3 days and counting down until our next long western van trip. As we finish up our preparations here, I thought I'd share some of the mods we've done, modifications we've done to the van since our last trip out west. In the rear, the most obvious modification is the new storage box, the rear door carrier, which is the frame that goes between the box and the door. And then we've also added this pull-up bar for Larissa. The storage box we got is a mini monster box. It's 30 liters, I believe. It's made by Owl Vans. It provides storage for most of the stuff that we either had stored inside in the inside cargo bench or in the overhead storage box we have on the roof. Just makes it a lot more convenient to get to. Also moves all this stuff that we had pretty much use outside to an outside storage location. So if it's wet and muddy, whatever, dirty, we can keep it out here. Also provides a nice little work space here if we need it. So what we keep in here is our water hoses and filters, our power cable for the shore power, our camp chairs, leveling blocks, our grill, and then just a number of miscellaneous items, bike tools, hatchet, knife, whatever. Great storage. The rear door carrier I chose is made by Unaka, I think is how you pronounce it. I like this one because it was modular and allowed me to add a ladder up here. It has steps that fold out on the side for the lower access. And the reason I wanted that was because this rear right corner, the passenger corner of the van, didn't really have access to. It had nice wide open space, so that was an area that was not being used. And I'll show you what we did with it in a minute. The pull-up bar was a request from Larissa. She'd been kind of after me to do something. And I had really no idea how to put a pull-up bar in the van until we got this rack. And then I realized that I could utilize the ladder portion of the rack pretty well. So it just pins in, slides out, and provides a pretty good pull-up. It is a little flexible. I mean, I load tested it, Liam load tested it, but it's really probably better for a Larissa-sized person. So, but it's perfect for her. She can kind of reach it on her tiptoes, so she doesn't need a ladder or anything to get to it. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, I like this rear cargo carrier, rear door cargo carrier, because it has this ladder feature. The lower portion has these flip out steps, so you can get up around the storage box. And then of course the upper portion is just your standard ladder. So with the addition of the ladder in the back, we now have access to this rear passenger side corner. So as a result, I put decking down here, so now we can climb up here, stand up here for taking pictures or whatever. You can also use that storage box as a seat if you're up here for an extended period of time. So now you got a nice high aerial view. One of the other major modifications we did was added this new 100-watt solar panel. So we now have a total of 320 watts of solar. That does seem to be just about enough to keep up with the fridge, the fans, not necessarily the Starlink, or of course not the air conditioner, but for basic stuff, it doesn't drain the battery down too badly now. We can get a good charge during the day, and you know, the batteries will make it through the night. Probably the most significant interior modification we made was the upgrade to the rear storage bench. So the storage bench provides a nice secondary position, allows us to spread out a little bit, and as the name implies, provides a fair amount of storage for shoes and other items. So one of the modifications I made to the existing bench was I put a hinge on this lid so it would stay out of the way, make it a little easier to get things in and out of. It used to have just a removable lid that was kind of awkward to deal with. However, the main reason I modified this bench was to incorporate a microwave. Another new addition is a dedicated water supply for drinking water. It has its own 5-gallon reservoir in the garage area of the van. This way we can keep a separate, just 5 gallons that we can refill a lot easier than trying to fill up the water tanks on the van. So that's the jug you can see there that holds our drinking water. So we can easily pull that out, go fill it up at a filtered water supply, or if we had to, we could buy some 2.5 or gallon jugs of water and fill it. Again, the water in the van is probably perfectly fine. I've sanitized it multiple times and flushed it. So in a pinch, we can always use that too, but this just gives us another supply of water. Another relatively simple mod, relatively inexpensive modification we did was the installation of this access panel here. This is below the Nautilus water panel. If you recall from our last trip, we had a number of leaks within this panel. They've all been resolved, but trying to see what was leaking and where was kind of a pain because you'd have to pull this panel out. With this access, it allows us to see if we're getting water down below. It also, however, allows us to get to this filter element. So instead of having to remove this whole panel and disturb the lines and connections in there, now we can just pop this out, see if we have any leaks, which again, I think we've resolved them, and also be able to change out that water filter element relatively easily. Storage is always an issue. So one thing I did was added some of these cargo nets to the inside of the cabinets. So this allows us to store like these Yeti cups. They won't rattle. So, and it uses this extra open space in the cabinet. We have a similar application here in the pantry area. Put some of these cargo nets here where we can store Splenda and other small items, spices. So it just gives us more organization and places to store stuff. When we don't have passengers, this space isn't very well used, or it isn't used at all. We do probably use one of the 2 seats for when we're camping or sitting around, but it's basically kind of a waste of space. So one thing I did is I got one of these seat back organizers that I actually put on the front of the seat. I don't know if it shows up very well. That allows us to store stuff on the front of the seat that was normally. Picked up these small knit baskets on eBay. It's a little finer mesh than I'd like, but the plan for these was to use them for produce like onions and apples, oranges, whatever. We just we put on some hooks here, just hang them up. So we could also, if they don't work out, we'll just use the hooks for hanging clothes with.